What's up, everybody? Matt Nuzzo. We're here at the Real Bar. What's up, everybody? Matt Nuzzo. We're here in the Real Boardloft to talk to you about the FCD Locust. So this is the new shape out by FCD. This is their more experienced, intermediate, or advanced foil surfboard. It is a dedicated foil surfboard, and it looks totally weird, just like that one. The Grasshopper looks totally weird, but they are designed for a purpose. And the cool thing about Fletch's boards is that Fletch is an absolute frother when it comes to sessions. Like, he loves to take sessions. The more time in the water, the better. But he's got a job, he's got a family, he's got a lot of stuff going on in his life. So foiling has done like it's done for myself. It just allows you to go to the beach and go and get sessions. So he's telling me when I talked to him about the design plan, he's like, I had very little input on this board. I was just making boards that work well for me. And so what he wanted to do, coming from the Grasshopper to the Locust, is he wanted to have a board that was shorter but still had a lot of volume to it, right? So this is a 4.8 right here, and this is a 4.8. It's like 20.5 wide. You can see it's super thick at the bottom, that big blunt tail, and then it's about 43 liters, right? So in comparison, the Grasshopper here I've got is 5.5, and it's about 43 liters as well, right? So when you take all that volume out of the board, not the volume, when you take all the length out of the board and chop it down a bunch, you have a lot less swing weight. And for foiling, for pumping and for turning, the less swing weight, the better. So he even went a step further and said, how can I still pack volume into a board but have it not affect your performance, right? So when you look at the tail of this board, it is super thick underneath the boxes. So that gives you extra strength on the boxes, but it gives you the float and the volume where you're not going to necessarily feel it when you're out there surfing. Whereas the front is really scooped out on the deck here, and it's super thin right up here on the nose. So you really, one of the things you notice on this board is how responsive it is rail to rail. When you turn, the board just whips right around because there's really just very little volume up here, very little weight up here. Less weight means that less weight in motion means that you're going to really not feel, like you're going to have a lot better performance. You're not going to feel that swing weight is what you have. So with this board, the goal is to make a board that's going to be more performance oriented. It's going to be still easy to catch waves, and that's really what he's done. So the nice thing about this board, this is a 4.8, 43 liters. He also has a 4.4, a 4.0, and then I think he goes down to like a 3.10. You can get any custom sizes and stuff. We're stocking the 4.8 through the 4.0 because those are kind of the key sizes for foil surfing. And with this design and setup, I found it to actually feel like a shortboard, So it's like, out there when I'm paddling a shortboard, it's going to be underwater some. You're not going to have like the front of the board sticking way out of the water. It's going to be underwater. But when you paddle into a wave, it actually catches waves way better than most smaller boards than I felt. I think a lot of that has to do with that big back end, that big old tail block. And yes, this thing is sinfully ugly. And that's my only complaint on this board, is that this tail is totally ugly, but it's functional. And really that's what, these guys are about, is taking sessions and have it be functional. So that big tail block really pushes you into the wave. Even if it's like a piddly little wave, it's just pushing in, you get to take off, and boom, you're on foil and going. And then you don't feel the nose of the board, and it feels like actually quite a bit smaller than other 4.8s that I've ridden. So cheers to that for making a board that actually catches waves bigger, for like a board that's bigger, but also surfs smaller than it is. So the other keynote is the chined rail on the side. That's when you rail over. If you touch down, it's not going to stick. It's going to bounce back up and not really kind of stick down to the water. This does reduce your paddling power a little bit, but it also is going to allow you to really, when you're ramping on those turns, to have it bounce down and bounce up. Just for comparison, I wanted to bring out the Grasshopper here. Again, so the Grasshopper in the lineup is super relevant, and this was my first kind of like go-to foil board, and it taught me to foil because it paddles so well, and it's really similar to what you see in a longboard, right? So more of this was designed off of a prone paddleboard, where you're just laying down and prone to get extra glide, and the design characteristics are very different than what you're seeing in the Locust. But, it works for what it is and allows you to catch waves and glide into waves very easily. So this one's a 5.5. It's about 43 liters. And it's awesome because it allows you to catch waves easily. It's still lightweight and still gets going. So, like if you're kind of figuring out what you want to do, your Locust is going to be your shortboard. your Grasshopper's gonna be your longboard, and it's pretty easy to make that differentiation. You definitely wanna have this for learning and for getting going, because if you go down to a really tiny short board right off the bat, you're gonna be struggling. So get your paddle power, get your waves, learn how to foil, and then you can upgrade down to a Locust. So final thing, people are kind of really obsessed with weight these days. Now 43 liters, this board here is weighing in at about 7.3 pounds. You know, so they've got a nice glass job, high end, really, you know, FCD is always focused on like highest end quality materials and craftsmanship. They put a nice big carbon patch over the boxes to make sure that they're super stiff and locked in there. Most times if you're like hitting the reef or smashing your board, you're gonna break out the boxes and not break your foil, depending on the type of foil you have. But you know, it's definitely important to have a really reinforced setup, which they've done here. Leash plugs, some leash plugs are putting right on the tail, and the real short ones are putting right off the tail. You know, so leash plugs in the back here. And overall, I've been super pumped with this board. Works awesome, and definitely is improving my surf foiling skills, which I'm stoked about. So if you have more questions, go to realwatersports.com or give us a call to shop, 252-987-6000. See you guys on the water.